Bronny James has a treatable congenital heart defect. The Chargers wrap up their preseason, and Lou Williams cannot tell a lie. Unless, of course, it's about strip clubs and hot wings. But that's another story. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is August 26, 2023. We have an absolute ton to get to, so I don't want to waste a lot of time. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. It's always good stuff when you're talking LA sports. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, if you are curious, Mookie Betts got a standing ovation over at Fenway Park in his return to Boston. He scores twice. The Dodgers win 7-4. Freddie Freeman collects 4 hits. The Dodgers lead the NL West by 12 games. The Chargers, we're going to talk more about the Bolts in just a moment, but for the final score, it was 23, San Francisco 12, the preseason finale. Like I said, we'll get some more of the details about how this impacts the regular season in a moment. Nneka Ogwumike records her 100th double-double in her WNBA career. Sparks 83, Atlanta 78. The Sparks have won their 6th consecutive game. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are still in Boston. The game's at 4. Julio Urias is 11-6 with a 4.15 ERA. James Paxton, 7-4 with a 3.79 ERA. The Trojans, the number 6th ranked USC Trojans, kick off their season tonight at 5. They're hosting San Jose State. For a preview of the game, check out Friday Night Chalk Talk. It is our new little preview show for all of the NFL and college teams in the area once a week. The Trojans are the only ones playing a regular season game this week. It's on the Trojans playlist to check out our thoughts on that. Rams are at Denver at 6. That's the preseason finale for both teams. Chicago is playing the LA Galaxy. It is Galaxy Game Day. Welcome back. The new look 5-time MLS Cup champs. They are 7 points out of an MLS playoff spot with 12 games left to go. LAFC is at Charlotte at 4:30. Now, we've talked a little bit about the Galaxy's additions, but LAFC added Christian Oliveira, and the dude scored in his debut on Wednesday. We finally have credible news on Bronny James, LeBron's son, part of what is likely USC's best ever basketball recruiting class. Now, for that news, it only took a month, so there's that. But at least we think we have solid answers. You recall, he suffered cardiac arrest in July. The James family had doctors at both Cedars-Sinai and the Mayo Clinic take a look. The doctors believe a congenital heart defect is what led to the arrest. This is according to a family release statement. And you can understand why the family is kind of, as they say, controlling the narrative. You want to control your own narrative when it's your own health. Doctors can't rush out to a mic and start blabbing, for Pete's sakes. There is such a thing as patient privacy. The condition is treatable. Now, the family is saying that Bronny can return to the court, quote, in the very near future, unquote. What is the very near future? No idea. No idea. I think most of us would agree that the Chargers' first stringers were pretty much all set, right? So much of what I am about to say will have some, but not catastrophic, impact, right? If the starters aren't playing, they're the ones making the major impact. So these guys out last night, not so much. So we're cool with that, right? Okay. These are the things I would take note of. Defensive lineman Otitia Ogbonia, the second-year player out of UCLA, will likely start the year on the physically unable to perform list. He still hasn't recovered from a knee injury from last season. Also, first-round draft pick Quentin Johnston played into the second quarter, caught 2 passes, which is okay, but this matters because in the final preseason game, if you are playing your quote-unquote regulars in the last preseason game, you're only doing it for maybe one series at best. just one series to make sure that you know what you're doing. Playing into the second quarter for this guy signals to me that he's probably not one of their top 3 receivers. I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm just saying he's not going to make this crazy debut. Now, that's not something that I know for sure, but I think I'm on solid ground with that. Also, last year's Chargers liked to use a fullback in the running game, Xander Horvath. Kellen Moore does not believe in using fullbacks. The Times and The Athletic both think that Horvath is going straight to special teams. Finally, I took a look at all the Chargers draft picks this year. And because, again, the front liners, the starters for the Chargers are already pretty much set, I believe that the only one who might make an early impact out of all the picks is 4th rounder Darius Davis, because he might be the guy who returns the kicks and the punts. So you will see him make an impact of some sort. Every other pick, frankly, somebody either has to underperform tragically or get injured in order for one of those draft picks to get legit playing time. Just my thoughts. Lou Williams is arguably the greatest 6th man in NBA history. Played for both the Lakers and the Clippers in his travels. Terrific shooter. He was asked about load management. And this matters because with the Clippers, obviously, he played alongside Mr. Load Management, Kawhi Leonard. To which Williams said, quote, "And let me tell y'all about load management. No player has ever put himself on load management. So somebody be mad at the players. We come in and they tell us the schedule. No player is coming in like, you know what? Tonight I ain't feeling that bleep. We don't have that option. It's been put in a way where the fans be mad at the players. They're not the ones that be making a decision on that schedule," unquote. So let me ask you something. And no, I'm not asking you to judge his English. That's not what I'm going to ask. Do you believe him? Do you? I mean, especially after Kawhi's act in San Antonio and Toronto and now with the Clippers. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying it's not like Williams has been 100% truthful in the past either, right? Unless, of course, I'm wrong and going to the strip club for hot wings during the COVID lockdown was really a legit excuse. Color me skeptical about that, right? I hope I never get Alzheimer's disease because I never want to forget Lou Williams lying to everybody, saying that he absolutely had to go to the strip club during the COVID lockdowns so that he could get some hot wings. Snuck out of Orlando, went all the way up to Atlanta to allegedly go to a family funeral, cuts out for hot wings at the local strip club. The most gorgeous lie I've ever heard in my bleeping life. I never want to forget it. Hi, I'm Lou Williams. I left the COVID bubble for 2 reasons: to mourn my dead relatives and to eat hot wings. What? Nobody has any hot wings? Well, why didn't you say so? Everybody get into the Escalade. Let's go to the nudie bar. But what about your dead relatives? Shut up, man. It's priorities here. Lou Williams, pillar of honesty. For reasons unknown, some podcaster I'll never listen to asked NBA Hall of Famer John Stockton about LeBron James, and Stockton takes issue with the way that James is seen as part player, part GM. He didn't say specifically that LeBron James is part player, part GM, but damn did he insinuate it. Quote, "It would be maddening as a teammate to know that you can be expendable for one of his guys that he thinks he needs to play with," unquote. Stockton also took issue with how he thinks players hop from team to chase titles. First of all, Mr. Stockton, not only is winning a title important to a lot of players, so is leaving Salt Lake City. Leaving Salt Lake City is actually a bonus alongside going to chase a ring. Whoa, I can go get me a ring and I can drink Coca-Cola now? Sign me up. Where's the first Frontier flight to get the hell out? Secondly, everybody is expendable. Everybody. You, me. Hell, there's a prison mugshot making the rounds of a former president of the United States. That dude is expendable. We are all expendable. Everybody. And there is a price to be paid when you add elite talent to your roster. And sometimes other people being expendable is part of the deal. Eddie Van Halen played GM once. Nobody thought he would trade David Lee Roth for Sammy Hagar, and yet he did. Yet he did. The Athletic rolled out 5 potential starting lineups for the Lakers next season, which is cool because it kind of indicates how adaptable the team is. By the way, feel free to say hi to Cock Blocker the cat, making her first return to faithful Angelenos in months. But back to the Lakers. We know LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, they're definite starters. But the other two lead to some interesting choices, not just in terms of the starting lineup, but who is the sixth man? If the Lakers choose one lineup and stick with it, you have 3 potential choices for a possible Sixth Man of the Year award in the NBA. Seriously, it just depends. Now, 2 of the scenarios I don't necessarily believe are going to happen, but they could. One of them has Jackson Hayes making the starting lineup so that Anthony Davis can shift from center to power forward. I'm not sure the Lakers do that, but in that scenario, the likely sixth man, if you think about what a normal Lakers starting lineup would be from last year, the likely sixth man becomes Rui Hachimura. Can you see Rui Hachimura, who's a well-rounded, all-around guy, becoming a sixth man of the year? I could. Option 2, instead of going for height with Jackson Hayes, what if they go for sharpshooting? If that's the case, if Gabe Vincent steals the gig from D'Angelo Russell and Russell becomes the sixth man. Now, I don't see that happening because Russell has too much professional and personal pride. Maybe. The most likely scenario for me has a backcourt of Reeves and Russell with a front court of Davis, Hachimura, and James. Very versatile all around the lineup. But if that happens, who's the odd man out? Jared Vanderbilt. Now, I'd bank on this if it were me, because Vanderbilt is an energy guy. You can match him up against pretty much anybody on the other team's second team. I could see him being a possibility for sixth man of the year. People say, work for the job you want, not for the job that you have. And that explains why LA Times columnist Bill Plaschke will do whatever it takes to worm his way onto ESPN. His latest unfounded hot take, he knew he got booked for Around the Horn, so you knew he had to pull something out of his booty. He believes Giannis Antetokounmpo will be with the Lakers soon. He has no sources. None. This is how he figures it's going to happen. LeBron James, 2 years left on his contract. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2 years on his contract. Bingo! Now, is it possible? I guess. But you have to come with me with more than that. You can't just pull 2 names out of your butt, match up that they're both stars, and when their contract ends, and say it's a done deal. I don't even know if you've ever spoken with Giannis Antetokounmpo, whether or not you spoke with anybody who knows this guy. Plaschke, because you're too busy in the makeup chair. Get some sources, then come back. The LA Times believes that the big takeaway from tonight's Rams preseason finale is learning more about backup quarterback Stetson Bennett. I could not disagree more. I completely, 100% disagree. There's nothing about that I buy. Starters have been playing on the Rams defense. There has to be growth. That's the key for tonight's game. The Cleveland Guardians apologized to the Dodgers for putting a tarp on the field Wednesday. The tarp literally stayed dry for another 30 minutes before the rain finally fell. And that matters because Clayton Kershaw could have pitched another inning or 2. Apparently, the head groundskeeper in Cleveland gets to make the call when the tarp goes on. Not the umpires, not the team, not even the Cougar meteorologist with the surgically enhanced rack from Cleveland's local TV station. The Orange County Register has noticed that back in the minors, Emmett Sheehan and Gavin Stone have both been used as so-called openers, which is perhaps a signal that they both might be promoted in September to get spot starts to simply eat some innings and give the regular season rotation an additional day of rest in advance of the playoffs. Speaking of Dodger starters, Lance Lynn said he's still using every pitch in his repertoire, but part of his turnaround came when the coaching staff suggested that he use his cut fastball only on left-handed hitters and limit the sinker only to right-handed hitters. Ryan Pepio, we hardly knew ye. We keep trying to know ye, but then the Dodgers keep sending ye back to the minor leagues. After one start, the poor guy is back in Oklahoma City after maybe basically spending an afternoon in the majors this year. Kind of feel bad for the guy. What player on the Dodgers, though, is kind of indispensable, but simultaneously under the radar? Someone you'd really have to pay attention to the Dodgers to appreciate. Well, general manager Brandon Gomes suggested it's David Peralta. He's 36, so he's not exactly the silver slugger or the gold glover that he used to be, but, quote, what David Peralta brings to the table as far as attention to detail, energy in the dugout, performing at a high level all around, but especially when it comes to situational hitting, probably gets masked by the other big names we have in the lineup. The grinder mentality permeates everyone he's around. UCLA basketball has won the first 2 games of a brief European tour. Coach Mick Cronin told the Bruin Report that freshman guard Sebastian Mack is a Bearcat. Quote, I love his aggressiveness. Dare that I would say he's a Bearcat. He's a tough dude. He's just in attack and compete mode. He can put on the gloves and be a boxer. He's not running from the fight when you know I believe in guys like that. Now, I looked up Bearcat, and to be honest, I wasn't too threatened by that. You can put my middle-aged ass in a cage with a Bearcat, and I still like my odds. But if it means more playing time, and a coach calls you a Bearcat, hell, if it means more playing time, a coach could call me Strawberry Shortcake, and I'm in. New USC athletic director Jennifer Cohen has a nickname. No, it's not Bearcat. It's Sideline Jen. She said that the Washington Press gave her that nickname because even though she has not been flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct yet, she gets extremely passionate and animated on the sidelines during games. So, if you are one of the 6 poor suckers who still have the Pac-12 network and you're wondering what that Little League mom is doing on the sidelines, she's not a Little League mom, she's the new AD. It seems reasonable to assume that the LA Kings roster is mostly set, but the Athletic projects right-winger Martin Kromiak will get a long look during training camp. It is true that the Kings have Adrian Kempe, Victor Arvidsson, and Arthur Kaliev at right wing, but Kromiak scored 15 times for the Ontario Reign, and you add an injury to any one of these guys, there you are. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the Chargers roster. Talk to me about Bronny James and if you think it's wise to have him playing basketball so soon after cardiac arrest. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back later tonight with a Galaxy Rapid recap. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.